Well, what a game. Obviously, it's a lot easier for me to say that. We've been on both sides of that thing when you coach as long as we have. And these rivalry games, man, you just throw everything out the door. It's just how it is. And the way it ended, I'm not sure it was surprising to anybody, And fortunately for us, we were able to make, one more play at the end of the day. But that's a really good team over there. They're going to have a really good year. They're very, very talented. They put a lot of pressure on you with their skill. I mean, they have a lot of flexibility. So they just mix and match guys all over the place, and getting ready to play them is difficult, and especially on the short prep that we had getting back, from TCU at, 1 in the morning or whatever it was, and not being able to do a ton of live stuff that next day. So I'm really proud of our guys. Really proud of our coaches in the work that they put in the time that they put in. And when I say they, it's the coaches and the players. And the guys just showed a lot tonight. Just their connectivity, I think, really showed, right? During some tough times, and we're growing up. Like, these guys are growing up. There's a lot of guys that haven't won at a very high level, and they're starting to figure out how to win. And that can be hard to do because there's selflessness that goes in it. There's sacrifice that goes into it. There's a level of physical and mental toughness that is a big part of this thing, specifically mental toughness and understanding what we're trying to do. And so I'm really, really proud of them because they kept throwing haymakers and we kept throwing them back, and we just found a way to win that game. So, to start the game, obviously, just tug of war. Like, it wasn't a thing of beauty aesthetically. And credit to BYU, how well they played defensively. I thought we were a bit of mixed emotions. I think our guys wanted to please our fans so much. And thank you to our fans for coming out tonight. Thank you to the Muss. Man, that was awesome. The things they were doing, I don't think it was the wave, but they were doing something that was really cool early in the game. I was like, wow, that was impressive. We need to replicate that over and over and over again. But seriously, fans impact winning. They impact winning. They don't go out there and win, but they impact winning. Players got to make the plays. Coaches got to put guys in a position to succeed and get the very best out of them. But fans impact winning in a major way. The energy, the intensity, it can be daunting for the other team. So thank you to all the fans for coming out. But that first half, I loved how we guarded, held them to 33%, I believe, or 34%. It's hard to do with that team. 4 for 16 from the three. It's the team that shoots and makes the most threes in the Big 12. So we did a really good job with that. But offensively, we were a clunker. Like, we couldn't get anything to go. We looked disjointed. Credit to them. I thought we had a little bit. Sometimes we've played in big crowds, Iowa on a neutral, Mississippi State neutral, at Baylor, at Iowa State, but not at home like that. And so sometimes you maybe get like the 15 minutes of fame. You know what I mean? Like, guys want to kind of show out, is what they say. And so, like, you have to harness that, because when you haven't won at a high level, you have to understand what it takes to do it. And so we addressed that at like the 8 or 12 minute, media. Like, guys, like, let's play like we know how to play. And instead of forcing a shot, or instead of making one more pass where we peel it off, or settling for a shot instead of driving it in there, right? We were a little rushed. So it's a combination of everything, but I thought we really self-corrected. Certainly there was a lot more focus to start the second half. That first 7-8 minutes of the second half was monumental for us. Really punched it inside. Lawson, I thought, was amazing tonight, and especially to start that second half. He got a quick third foul. Josh Eilert, who's a big man coach, does a great job for us. It's like, Coach, we got to get Lawson. I'm like, no, what? I'm not playing. I'm not taking him out. Like, he's the one who's, like, really hooping right now. And then he came back with like 6-7 minutes to go with 4 fouls and played the rest of the game and overtime. And then Ezra, was he a load down there? So those two guys really got it going, and credit to our guys for looking to those guys. And then, obviously our free throw shooting, there's a lot of ways to look at this. Obviously we got to shoot free throws better. Those numbers are not where it needs to be. We missed some big ones to start overtime, missed a couple big ones late in regulation, and then, of course, at the end of the overtime as well. But so that's the glass half empty. The glass half full is At least we got to the free throw line 32 times, and we made 17. Because, listen, 2 weeks ago, there was no chance we were going to make 17 free throws in a game because we wouldn't get fouled. But we're playing a different brand now. We're getting to the line more. We're attacking more. And we're just playing with way more force. And it's big boy basketball, and that was a big boy basketball win.
Craig, walk me through Ezra's performance. What allowed him to kind of explode in the second half? And the second part of this question, you guys shared a moment there at the end of the game. It was raw embrace, just you guys hugging and jumping up and down. Walk me through that as well.
I love that man. I don't know what got into him, but it needs to happen all the time. He's a really amazing person. I've met a lot of people in my life. I'm not sure I met anybody exactly like Ezra, and that's a real compliment. Amazing family. He's been kind of in and out of some things, right? And he goes home for Christmas. He didn't play a ton against Iowa. Wasn't great against Baylor, right? And he has the death. He's been through some stuff here. He's going through some personal things. Went home for a death in the family, and it's had a different look to him. I think a lot more purpose. His mom sent me a nice stepmom. She's just awesome. She just wished me good luck today. Doesn't do that super often. And I just give it's a new thing I do when I respond. I just hit I don't know what you call it. You hit the thing like all the kids do. Well, maybe all you guys do, where you hit the exclamation points or the thumbs up. So I think I just gave the exclamation points, and she goes, "Tell Ez to get to the offensive boards." And I'm like, "Hey, man, this is great." But, he had a great look, and I think he's learning how to really compete. I think he's really learning how to play with force. He's got to keep doing this. I thought his 2 practices going into Oklahoma State were the best of his youth career. And I think he's starting to gain, knowledge. He's definitely gaining knowledge of the game, but also, why we do certain things. He's understanding the process and diving into it. And then, I don't know, tonight, the second half, his finishes around the basket, he's come a long way. He started playing basketball in 10th or 11th grade. He wants to learn. And then at the end, that's a hard thing. You go through the ups and downs. He missed a free throw. I'm sure that was weighing on him. There's a lot. But he was just right there, and he just he's a strong dude. I might have to go to the chiropractor. But it's a raw emotion. It's hard to replicate it. You can't explain it. And he just happened to be there, and he just I'm so happy for him. So happy for these guys, right, how we've responded the last 10 days, 2 weeks really. And his best basketball is yet to come. But for him, even in the locker room afterwards, he had just raw emotion. Just flowing with. And he's not a crazy emotional guy, but he was kind of trying to hide almost. But we have a special connection. It really started in the recruiting process. We were talking essentially every day, and even FaceTime. I don't even FaceTime my family. I didn't even know what it was. But now with Ezra, it's every time it's a FaceTime call. So he taught me a lesson on that. I did start FaceTiming my kids now, probably not enough, but he's a special young man. I'm really happy for him.
Craig, we talked a lot about kind of how difficult this offseason was and trying to build to where you are today. On a personal level, what does this win and just kind of your 3-game winning streak in totality kind of mean to you on that personal level?
Well, have you guys ever seen Major League? When you win 3 in a row, we got a winning streak. So that's nice. You guys didn't get it. Come on. Or maybe it's just not that funny. But I saw you down here. But, listen, this isn't about me. This is about our team. It's about our program. These guys, we had such a good summer and such a good preseason. And then it's almost like I was talking to, coming in today, saw some fans, took some pictures, talking to one of our kind of a bigger donors. He's like, "Man, you guys are figuring it out. You're fun to watch. We're bigger now at the wing." It's and that's how we were playing all summer and all preseason. And then literally, you guys know, it's all well documented. Losing the 3 centers. So we had to, I feel like I'm coaching my 3rd team, honestly. Because we were playing the way we're playing now all summer and then we had those guys go out, and then we were playing almost I don't know, in a way, Golden State Warrior basketball, but not making as many threes. You know what I'm saying? But we were on fire for a stretch, and then it was just no, this isn't how this team is made. We're gonna play the way we need to play, and it's not too late. There's a lot of season left. It's easy for people and fans. They hit the panic, but none of that, right? Stay the course. We have a good, it's not perfect, but we have a good group of guys, and I'm just happy for them because what these guys do, I wish you could be around them. It's not, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not a utopia. It's easy to talk like this when you win, but I was saying this when we lost to Iowa State. It's a good group, man. It is, and they want to get better, and I think what shows is just how much more physical and how connected we play, specifically on the offensive end, but we've been able to self-correct and really figure it out defensively because those games against Iowa, Baylor, and Texas Tech, now those are three really good offensive teams, but we were just disjointed on that end of the floor, and we've been able to go through some things together and figure it out.
Coach Lawson and Ezra were the anchors today. Was dominating the interior something that was a pillar of the game plan, or was that more of an adjustment after you saw how they're playing you?
Well, a little bit of both. I didn't think we got it inside enough in the first half. And they do a good job. They Fustrer is an experienced guy. That guy is a strong dude. Obviously, Kaba played here. We know what he can do. And they really shrink the floor. Like whoever feeds the post, they really shrink off that guy and they fake and fade. Sometimes they bring the double and they go hard at you. So you gotta really be on point with our spacing, where we want our guys when we throw it in there. And we were just all over the map with that in the first half. Like we were cutting when we weren't supposed to be cutting. And these are smart guys. Like Mike's a really smart player. And so he would feed the post and he's cutting. And it's like, no, Ezra just cut. Like now they get a free trap. So I just felt like we were just a little rattled, if that makes sense. Second half, we just self-corrected. We're able to get it in there a lot more and give us better looks to free up our big guys, and then we did once it started working. Then we kept going to the well, so to speak, until they stopped it.
I wanted to go back to the connectivity point, and to talk a little bit about Ezra. How big has he been in that cohesion, especially through the hard times that you guys have had through that losing streak? I mean, what does that all look like behind the scenes, just specifically with him and his teammates?
Here's what's hard. We have 10 new players. We have 7 new coaching staff members. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Tyler Larson, who basically runs our offense now. He's got kind of those, obviously I have final say and all that stuff. We know how that. But Tyler played for me, right? And JJ has been with me for forever. Justin Johnson. There's only 2 guys that have returned. Jaden Olson was here, and then he got out of the business, and it's a whole, So you're as a head coach, this is how we do it. This is how so there's that connectivity. And that's what I love about this coaching staff. Our coaching staff, man, they're just a true joy to be around. There's no egos. They're there for the players. So you can't underestimate that part of it. They spend whatever amount of time it needs to be done. You work till your work is done, right? And fulfill and try to lift these players up. And so that's not always easy when you're in a losing streak. And then when you have a deeper team, we were all healthy, and we essentially were trying to play 11 guys, which is just too much. I've said it many times. There's a lot of good players, and when you're not winning, when you lose 4 in a row, it's very easy for this guy to say, I should be playing more, and this guy to be, and you know what? They're all right, because they can all make an argument that they should be playing more, and it's easy to do that when you're losing. It just is. So credit to them behind the scenes, staying together, the leadership within the seniors or our program, and we got a lot of connectors. So I can name a lot of different, Hunter tonight. Him switch the free throw. I didn't say this yet, right? This is the radio. Then he airballs. I've never seen Hunter airball a shot. I'm sure he has. But to have the courage to come off the ball screen with whatever time left and that over and just explode into the paint and get fouled and swish them both after coming off an airball, it's hard to do. So anyway, the connectivity, these guys are just good people, man. Nobody's ever perfect, but it's just a solid group. You feel it when you're around them. There's very little clicks. There's very little of any of that kind of stuff. And so I just think it speaks volume to the entire locker room that way. Because it is easier. It can be very easy, even at this time of year. It used to be in February, but now it can be, this time. But I think they see the big picture and they believe in one another, and we all believe in each other. Coaches to players, players to coaches.
2 more after this. Lawson brought a ruggedness to the interior defense, but I'd be curious to hear, the improved perimeter defense and taking away somebody like Richie Saunders, who had a tough night tonight.
Yeah, he did. We challenged our guys at halftime. He was 3 for 6 in the first half for 10 points. 10 points on 6 shots. Like, he was the only consistent guy that was hurting us. You know what I mean? Like, Denham throws in a 3. I think that's his 3rd or 4th 3 of the season. So we kind of lived with that. It's like we made in the first half. Some of the scores that they made, they were game plan things. Like, if they can make that, good for them, and then we'll adjust. And credit to them, they made some of those. But we really singled out Richie. He's a good player, man. I recruited him so hard out of high school, and then his dream school offered, and the rest is history. But we really were intentional with him the second half. Obviously, he was the key. He had 31 against Arizona State. I think it was their 30 or 31, 25 against TCU, who we just played. So we changed up some matchups. It's hard to, Hunter Erickson guarded him a lot more. Hunter's a really good defensive player, like really good. So I thought he did a better job. We tried to deny him more catches, so he just wasn't comfortable getting those catches. That last play they drew up at the end of regulation, we told our guys, hey, this is probably 1A that they're going to run. We gave them a couple things, but that was 1A. And credit to them, they still were able to get a half a step advantage and turn the corner. But Lawson was right there. What a great contest, wall up. And then like happens so many games, the offensive rebound where you don't crack down, that's how they get it. But we changed up our looks, tried to guard them some different ways. When Lawson came out, we trapped ball screens with Caleb. Now, we did that with everybody, but just tried to get them off attack because I thought they were kind of getting downhill on us and making some plays in the paint. So it was a little bit of everything. But second half, I think he was 2 for 10, and that was big for us.
Go one more after this.
Craig, you already talked about Hunter and his being able to come back and hit those last 2 free throws after he missed that one. But just what were your thoughts about the impact that he had in that overtime session? He hits that 3-pointer that, ties it up before all that happens, and then he just shows that assertiveness to get there.
How much better has that kid gotten? And really from the end of last year, just proud of him. We had a real heart-to-heart after the Oregon State game at Oregon State a year ago, and from that point on, at Oregon in the conference tournament, the NIT, he was really good. He's been outstanding all year. He's a connector. I can name a bunch of connectors. He's one of them. Jake Wallin, that's partly what I got in the starting lineup. He's a connector, right? But Hunter, he just has this, I don't know, like everybody believes in him. Like he just has respect. Like everybody, because of how hard he competes, they trust him. He always makes the right play. Like he just makes the right play. Coach Lowe Leith, one of our assistants, told him with like 6 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go, and he goes, "Listen." Now maybe he's lying and saying this in the staff locker room, but he goes, I told him in the second to last media timeout, like, Hunter, you always make the right play. But he goes, you know what? Tonight the right play might be shooting it a little bit more. Right? And so proud of him, if what Lowe has said is true, which I believe Coach Lowe, but he came off that ball screen and stuck it. We're actually trying to run a different play that we ran at the end of the first half, the second half when Ezra got the dunk for us to go up. We were trying to run that same play because, you always like the plays that you get dunks on. And but our guys are all screwed up. And so Lawson just goes, sets a ball screen, the Hunter sticks it. Players make plays. It's bottom line. And so he stuck with it. He's just such a connector, and he's a real competitor, and he plays both ends of the floor. He didn't play much in the first half. He had one run in the first half. One. Played like 6 minutes straight. Didn't come back with him. I'm like, I'm a moron. Like, what am I doing? Because he just brings so much to the table for this team, and the guys all believe in him. And I'm really proud of him. His journey, 2-year mission, 2 years at BYU, 1 year at Slick, 2 years here, and we get him back next year too. So that's always nice.
One more, okay? Just with Hunter.
I like you because I always tell our team, all right, guys, one more clip, one more play. I'm good with it. We won, so I'm happy. We got all night.
Just coming off with Hunter, when you got him from Salt Lake Community College, where was his confidence at? And did you talk to him at all today about his journey coming from BYU? I know he's played in this game before with you.
No, that's a great question. That's a question that I actually think a lot about, and I always wonder when we play BYU, because it's always a hard thing. It's different. I mean, look at our program. We have two guys that played at BYU, Caleb and Hunter, and then one guy, Jake, that was committed there. And they have one of our former players, and then two guys that we recruited really, really hard, right? And Dallin and Richie. I was at a different school at the time. And so there's just so many intricacies that go into this thing. And I'm always like, but I think you can overplay it to your guys too, where they get, like, these are great games, because if they're not ready to play in that, like you don't have a pulse or a competitive spirit at all. And so I never said a word to him. I know the guys talk about that kind of stuff. The guys that grew up in Utah really understand it. The new guys don't. It's more hearsay. Although I will say this, now that we're in the same league together, they were able to experience that because BYU played football here, right? Volleyball played here. Like, so you can kind of see it more firsthand through other sports, right? That their fellow student athletes go through. So I think that's maybe a little different than typical, because that wasn't always the case with all the teams playing each other when we're cross conference. So I'm just proud of him, man. Like I am. He stuck with it, just stuck with it, kept fighting, never hangs his head. He told me one time, or 2 times this year, because I said, hey, I probably should. He goes, Coach, I'm so over that. I believe in you. I trust you. I trust this. Like, when you want to play me, you play me. I'm ready. Like, who has that maturity? Very few guys. It says a lot. So when his number's called, he's ready to roll.
All the fans coming out, it was fun playing in an arena with that kind of energy. So, but thank you to everybody.
All right, before we start, please raise your hand and we'll pass it around. I'll call on you to ask your questions.
For Ezra, what was working tonight for you? You know, it just seemed like your physicality was off the charts. I think a career high in scoring for you. Just walk me through that, and for your teammates, how big was Ezra tonight for you guys?
To me, it was just really counting on myself. To me, it was just confidence, and I know I just been kind of fighting my own emotions and feelings, and the best just came out. And I feel like I still got more to go. So, I'm just proud of the performance, and I'm gonna take it in, and let it marinate. But definitely on to the next.
Hunter, you airball a free throw, and then the 2 biggest shots of the game you hit. What's going through your mind that last time when you step up to the line for those free throws?
I mean, I know I'm a good free throw shooter. I'm a good shooter all around, and I got confidence in myself. So in those moments, you don't have time to think about what's happened. You just got to move on to the next and be in the present. So I just did that the best I could, and it worked out.
Lawson, you brought a ruggedness to the game that I think was really needed. What was your mindset coming into this game, and how important was it on the defensive end to have that sort of mindset?
I just tried to focus on being me, keeping the team, just being us, telling the team to be who we are, and not let the moment get too big for us, and just be us and play rugged and physical basketball, which we need to do to win the Big 12.
Hunter, this is the second straight game in a year against BYU that you've performed very well. Is this game personal to you at all?
No, I wouldn't say personal, but it's definitely really fun. Obviously, a lot of connections on both sides, and it's just super fun playing with the energy that the fans bring for both teams. So it's definitely a little different game, but at the end of the day, we got to go out and perform the same. So, yeah.
Ezra, after the buzzer sounded, I noticed you embraced Craig. You guys had a moment there. Walk me through the emotions that you shared with Craig. And as you mentioned, you've just been battling the ups and downs. I mean, what is it like to have a game like this tonight against a rival?
It's lovely. My teammates always counted on me, and they be getting on me all practice, all week long about, just staying dominant. And, that connection with Coach Craig, I just think that was just the love and the energy that I just felt at the moment. And we embraced that win because I know how bad they wanted to win. And, I know that's Hunter and Caleb old school, so that was a big win to me. I know that's their beef.
Lawson, did you feel like you were getting some mismatches that you wanted to see in the second half, and kind of that stretch where you and Ezra had like 14 straight points? Was that an emphasis coming out of the half?
Yeah, we just took what they gave us, basically. If they wanted to guard us that way, we just try to attack mismatches in the post and try to use our size to our advantage and see if we can get something going on inside the paint. And if they came to the ball, then we'd kick out for open threes. But we're just taking what they give us. Yeah.
For either one of you, what was the scout tonight to slow down BYU's Richie Saunders?
He's a really good player, and he's really aggressive, tall, strong, can kind of do everything, can shoot obviously really well, and we got really good scout coaches, and I think they did a really good job just kind of emphasizing that to us and making sure that we got to be locked in on him all the time, the whole game. If we relax, he's going to cut. If we relax, he might come off the screen, pop a three, and I think we did a pretty good job. But he's a great player.
Ezra, you had your first taste of the rivalry game tonight. How did it feel to have such a dominant performance in a game that means so much?
I don't know. That was just like to me it was I know it's a rivalry game, but to me it was just like regular, just blue versus red, And again, I really did that for Hunter and Caleb because I understand like that's the school they came from. So again, that ain't, what I'm saying, that ain't my beef. That's their beef.
Hunter, with this team, there are a number of guys that have come from different programs. And what do you think is the mindset with the team in terms of embracing sort of that workman-like mentality and just bringing the lunch bell each and every night?
Yeah, I think for us it starts just off the court. We got all of the guys on the team are just great guys, and we're genuinely good friends. And I think that over time just starts kind of flowing out onto the court, and kind of like Lawson was saying, we just take what teams give us, and we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. And obviously, if you just look at box scores from all the games, like you can see that different guys are stepping up every game, and we got confidence in every single one of them. And I think that's just where it starts, and that's kind of what we hang our hats on.
For any one of you, this is 3 straight wins now. It seems like you guys are kind of starting to figure it out, kind of figure out where to be in the Big 12. Kind of where do you kind of attribute that? Like what's allowed you guys to be so successful recently?
I think focusing on owning the paint, especially in the defensive end, and clogging it up and making a mess out of it. Obviously in Big 12 players, a lot of big, physical, strong guys that want to own the paint, and just making a mess out of it kind of changes the game and changes the dynamic of the game and helps us get it going on offensive end too.
For Ezra, you had 3 points, I think, in the first half, and then just exploded in the second half. What was the message at halftime from Craig? Was the game plan to feed you the ball more? I mean, walk me through that thought process.
Nah, my teammates actually beat me up at halftime, so I just think it was just the lack of, I guess, aggression, I would say, but more like just trying to, I think our game plan lately has just been, just trying to dominate the paint. I just know how dominant me and Lawson is, and I just feel like we are the best, honestly. And then, so we just, took advantage of it, and I just kept looking forward, honestly. The first half was over with, so it was a whole new 20 minutes, and it was time to really elevate.
Couple more after this.
Lawson, it was very obvious that BYU was trying to play through for San Troy down the stretch. I think he had 2 misses in the final 2.5 minutes. What were you doing defensively to stop him down the stretch?
I was just trying to play solid. I had 4 fouls. All the coaches, all my teammates were all telling me, Lawson, just be smart. Don't do anything out of character. And just play straight up, be solid, and make them score over you. Obviously, I had the height advantage, and so I tried to use that to my advantage, and it worked out for me.
This can go to really any of you guys, but you guys come off of a dominant, a road win, and then you come here and you beat your rival. What is it right now that you guys feel most confident in about your team as a whole?
I think both of them kind of touched on it, and just being physical. A lot of the time, the team that wants it the most is going to get it, and you can't get mad at. Everyone's going to have mistakes, but one thing we can control is our effort. So every game we're coming out and we're trying to be physical and dominate the paint, like they said. And I think when we branch everything off of that, it's just been working out for us.